Oh, well. No, she always gives me one. Good? All right. We'll call the City of Staples City Council meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good April evening. We'll get started right away with the approval of tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Roy, second by Mary. Discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3 is to approve our consent calendar, which is the minutes of the previous meeting and payment of bills.
So moved.
Motion by Roy, second by Doug. Discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Takes us to item 4, and that's to consider the second reading and adoption of ordinance 537 regarding the sale of property.
That's the second reading of ordinance that we previously given the first reading to at our last meeting for all of the lots up in Valley View neighborhood.
So moved.
Recommend it.
A second, or a motion by Roy,
I'll second.
a second by Ron. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 5 is to consider approval of Resolution 1872 to elect the standard allowance available under the American Rescue Plan Act.
Mouthful. So the resolution in front of you, as the council is familiar, we did get some federal ARPA dollars that we talked about during our budget process here last fall. They finally came out with the final ruling on it, which does give the opportunity to do a standard allowance, which basically means the reporting is a lot easier. So basically all small cities I would anticipate that get less than $10 million are going to pass this same resolution to streamline the reporting. So I would recommend approval of the resolution.
Does it change what we can spend it on? Doesn't change what we.
We did the revenue,
Right.
basically the lost revenue aspect
Yeah.
of it, so.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 1872.
Okay, motion by John, second by Mary.
So do we have anything earmarked for the, do with this money or?
At this point, no. It basically was, Diane had gone through and done the calculation for the lost revenue based on the formula. So it basically was being applied towards the different funds that had calculated lost revenue that would end up in fund balance within those funds. So we don't have not building a water tower or, anything specifically, that we've allocated the dollars towards.
Does it have to be spent for specific things or?
Yeah. But government services is one, that's the broadest one I think we could use stuff with. Because I know we are still trying to fill in gaps for funding for like park stuff and community center stuff. And that could be used for that theoretically, if you want. Water, services, that broadband and roads and streets too got added into the final rule. So basically it's anything-ish, but not. We can't use it towards debt services or anything and matching federal grants and stuff.
So we haven't actually determined what we're gonna spend the money on.
With the, when we were going through the budget, I don't know if you remember, there was this, the single page that basically was, breaking out the different funds, some general funds, some parks, some community center, streets, different things like that. So it was basically, allocated into, into those different into those different funds, but it's not budgeted to be spent
It's just,
at this point. So, I mean, we could, you know, realistically use it for any eligible expenditure based on the final ruling.
So it's not budgeted, so it requires council approval to spend any of it, is that how it goes?
As far as a budget revision, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, any other question or discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Takes us to item 6, and that's to consider approval of Resolution 1873, authorization to execute Minnesota Department of Transportation agreement for federal airport expenses reimbursement.
Some more ARPA dollars. This basically allows us to take the 32 and use it in the same fashion that we've used our maintenance and operation money for out at the airport. So just finalizing the actual agreement with MnDOT so that they can process the payments. And that is 32,000, I believe.
$32,000 under reimbursement, 4.2.
Yep. So that, you know, basically we have a state grant, you know, basically every 2 years that we do the M&O agreement with. So, you know, basically any miscellaneous maintenance item out at the airport, whether it's snow removal, lawn mowing, fixing a door, lights, you know, all of that kind of stuff are all things that we traditionally bill towards that M&O grant. Most years we go a little bit over the M&O, but with another round of COVID dollars, all of that stuff is covered, so. We did, I think at the last meeting, we actually did a grant extension on the first one, because we didn't spend it all. So I would recommend approval of that resolution 1873.
So moved.
A motion by Mary, second by Doug. Discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 7 would be to consider a purchase agreement with DHC of Lakes Area Incorporated for the east 150 feet of the south 133 feet of Lot 5, Block 18 in Betch's Addition.
So in case you didn't know where that was, I included a map. This is the third parcel that we had over on the south side of Prairie Avenue, east of Airport Road, on Second Street, kind of in the stand of pines down there. The middle one Derek bought from us a number of years ago, and he is actually going to be constructing a house on the middle one and wants to buy the one next door and build 2 at the same time. So terms are basically the same as we had back when he bought the other one at the 10,000, and then there's about 5,900 and change of special assessments that would be put on that property as well. So opportunity for 2 houses there. I would recommend approval of the purchase agreement.
I'll move approval of the purchase agreement.
I'll second.
A motion by Ron, second by John. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Well, that moves us to item number 8, which is to determine the sale price for single-family lots in the Valley View neighborhood. Charles got a
I'm gonna
spreadsheet.
See if I can figure out how to share my screen here. Okay, so, there were two sheets in your packet here. One of them is basically a aerial photo of the Wadena County GIS with a big red blob showing each of what I'll be referring to as the single-family lots. You can also see in that all of the previously platted duplex or twin home lots up in that area. That's not the topic of conversation here tonight. I really want to focus our discussion on the 8 single-family lots. On the spreadsheet that you have in front of you, what I did was I broke it out. Of the single-family lots, if you look up at the screen, single-family lots are all listed up there according to parcel ID number. The twin home lots broke into 2 different groupings. The top ones, basically the ones surrounding the cul-de-sac to the north of the single-family lots, there's been a lot of discussion about replatting those to more traditional single-family lots. The different development groups that we've talked to, they don't like that layout, just the way stuff would fit in there. And there seems to be much more interest in single family than the twin home type of model. So, and that's why I put on here over in the right-hand column, proposed to be replatted to single family, which we'll deal with at a meeting here in the future. The other lots to the west of Valley View Drive, you can see what we've got there, the 10 and then the common area. And then there's 2 other parcels that make up, basically all of the Valley View area. One is a big commercial lot on the corner of Spruce and Airport Road between Spruce and Airview, basically straight north of Prairie View Apartments there. And that's not a piece that we'll be talking about here tonight either. So really the focus of our conversation is on these 8 lots. So just from I guess a little, historical background on this, back in 2006, the Valley View development was put in place, and the TAR assessments were deferred for 5 years. The underground utility and curb and gutter assessments were deferred for 12 years. So after 5 years, some of the lots, the TAR assessment started being paid for. And then basically in year 12, when the water and sewer, the bigger chunk of the special assessments kicked in, that's when all of these other properties, actually 7 of the 8 lots at that time stopped having anything paid on. So the TAR portion was paid, and you see in the assessment paid column on there, the $2,901.50, that was the TAR assessment. The remaining balance in that next column is basically what the remainder of the sewer water curb gutter assessment is on there. And then when we bought these back from Wadena County, each of the lots, some of them were the same price, but they varied a little bit. I'm assuming that they took based on square footage for the valuation. The bottom one, ending in parcel number 0020, that's the larger lot up north of the little cul-de-sac road. And that actually had gone tax forfeit at the same time that all the twin home lots did. So that's why the assessment paid amount was less. And then Wadena County was a little bit more generous with us back when we originally acquired those. So, just to kind of summarize, you had the original assessment, the amount of the assessment that had been previously paid, what the balance is, what we paid Wadena County for it, and then we have a total investment column on there. So what I would like to do tonight is walk out of here with basically a price for these 8 lots. We have 2 different development groups that are interested in acquiring single-family lots and building single-family homes on them, you know, basically for spec. And you know, a couple of different proposals as far as what they, you know, they feel a fair price is for the lots. And then there's also a little bit different commitment for timeline for building. You know, so there's a little bit lower dollar amount offered for the lots, but from one developer, but a commitment to build 7 homes in 2 years. The other one is offering a little bit more for the land, but has less of a commitment. You know, it would be, you know, 1, maybe 2 in 2022, and then maybe a couple more the following year for a total of 5. And so what, you know, basically what I want to have a conversation about is we have these lots out there that, you know, we've been levying tax dollars to, you know, to pay the bonds on for a number of years. What are we as a city willing to do to get development to happen out there now? As opposed to 2 years from now or 3 years from now, if that happens. You know, we don't know what the market's gonna do. Once the house is there, you've got property tax revenue, you've got, you know, hopefully a family living there with 8 kids in each one, enrolled in school. And, you know, so we have one offer, you know, for the 7 at $10,000 a lot. We've got the other offer at 14 with a commitment for 1 house this year, but in conversations with that development group, if the price is lower than 14, they would commit to doing 2 in 2022. I would propose that we limit our discussion tonight to the lots that will be built on, or, you know, construction started on those houses this year. And then, you know, depending on how many lots may be left, because we don't, you know, we've had fairly limited number of conversations with developers. There could be private parties that want to build a house on a lot. You know, that, you know, they don't know that they're available. But, you know, right now, if we're in, you know, in that $10,000 range, we would basically have 6 homes built up there in the summer of 2022.
This summer.
This summer.
So do we have any idea what type of home they're gonna build? Are they gonna be a low dollar, home that is worth a couple $100,000 on the market, or, I mean, that kind of comes into play a little bit too.
Right.
Because tax value and what we're gonna actually get back, you know?
Yep.
You didn't wanna give away on.
You know, both proposals have somewhat of a similar type of, you know, slab construction, 3-bedroom, 1,600-ish, 1,700-ish square feet. Very similar to the one that Ziegler and Patton built up there a year ago, and they're finishing the second one now this year. You know, taxable market value on those, and this is for pay this year, who knows what it'll be next year, higher, you know, was in that 238,000 type range. What I put over here on the right-hand side, you know, we can plug in the sale price for each of these lots, and then I've got $1,600 a year as the anticipated City of Staples property tax revenue. And that's all based off the house that's existing up there. And then basically a years to break even column. You know, once that house is built, you know, within 5 years, 5 to 6 years, the difference between the sale price and what our total investment is would be recouped. And then that does, that's not counting the property taxes that would go towards the school district and the county and, the other benefits of having families in there.
Can you make that bigger?
I'm sure there's a way.
Lower right there if you hit the lower right down there, all the way lower right corner. Right there.
Oh, yeah. It's not doing anything.
If you hit the plus, it should. There you go.
There we go.
Thank you.
Oops.
So, like I say, we can plug in, basically any number up here and look at, the years to break even. The thing that I think we need to take into consideration is, again, we can't predict the future. We don't know what interest rates are gonna do. We don't know what material availability is gonna do for, next year or 2 years from now. So we've got an opportunity to get the housing that we've talked so much about. We could probably hold out for a lot higher dollar amount, and may end up with nothing. Or, things continue to be in high demand and something gets built 2 years from now. I don't know.
So we've got two developers, one developer 10,000, one developer 14,000.
Right.
And those are to buy all the lots?
The 10,000 was 4 this year, 3 next year, for a total of 7 lots. The other one's 5 lots. We don't currently have 12 lots, which, kind of brings us into the replatting of
Right.
those twin home lots.
But there can-
That's why I want to focus on,
Yeah.
let's agree to a sale price for lots that are gonna have a commitment to be built
Right.
on this year. We can go through the replatting process and figure out, how to create more single-family lots up there for next year.
So the ones that are that are looking at buying all of those, is the commitment, is that a commitment or just saying that's, is there any money attached to that or anything that assures us that it will happen that way, or is it just?
Well, that would be what we would put in the purchase agreement.
Okay.
Is that, and again, for the 2022, and I think, we don't know what's gonna happen, the developers also don't know what's gonna happen down the road in the future. So, if we put something in there where there's, earnest money or something that, that's not refundable, the lot that we just approved the purchase agreement with Derek, I put in there that, construction on the house has to commence by October of 2022.
Yeah.
He has no issue with that because he cleared the lot last week, and get going on it.
So part of the deal or whatever would be that we would sell them for a given price and then they would have to start construction on a certain timeline and that would all be included in there. So they couldn't just necessarily buy it and sit on it.
Yeah, and that's the last thing we want.
Right, but that's what we would make sure of
Yeah.
in our agreement.
So, it would be you gotta be building, before it frees up this fall, you have to have 4 of them going or 2 of them going or, whatever arrangement is worked out with the developers.
Well, I know we've talked for a long time about the great need for some more single-family houses and not having another apartment complex or something like that. And so I'm happy that there's developers that want to do that and.
Better jump on it.
Well, which one do you jump on?
Well,
I think we just need to set that.
Price.
Right,
The
so
price.
they'll work on
But the price,
rest.
but the price is kind of tied to, one offer is giving us a price with a building quicker, and the other one's giving us a price with a building later.
For just one, their price
Right,
is
so I
for
mean,
one.
that's tied into their offer.
14,000, correct? That was for one house.
That was for one. They indicated that they would do 2 this summer if the price was lower.
Yeah.
Lower than 14?
Yeah.
$13.99.
Well, I mean,
I hope he wasn't watching. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, yeah, it's,
So I guess the question is, what is the price for a 2022 construction on these lots?
so we're not,
Not looking to sell them for, well, we might build something 2 years from now. We're looking for a commitment to,
we're selling a bunch of lots to them, aren't we? They're not just buying one lot for 10 grand.
Are they buying the entire
They're buying-
grouping of lots?
but between the two proposals, and depending on the price, this is gonna, we need to set the price so we can go back and have the conversation with developers. Okay, here's the price, how many lots are you interested in?
I see. They're offering us though, the money they're offering us is to
The
purchase
two
more than-
proposals that we've received, one would be 4 houses in 2022, 3 in 2023 at the 10,000. The other was a total of 5, but only a commitment for 1 in 2022, so it could be a 3 or 4 year process to get 5.
But our price that they're paying for them is for all of them, whether they're built in 2022 or 2023.
I would propose that we set a price for lots that will be built on in 2022.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as him. I'm misunderstanding.
So if-
We have two developers. They each want to buy all the lots, but they only want to develop.
Yeah, no, they don't each want to buy all the lots. We've got 8. One group would take 7 to be built on over 2 years. The other group would take 5 to be built on over 2, 3, 4 years. We've got 8 lots right now, but we're proposing to replat those twin home lots and get another 6 lots that would be available for 2023 or 2024 construction.
Do physical therapy. So yeah, okay.
Does that make sense?
Our task is to set the cost of the lot for 2022.
So they're,
And
So-
if 7 of them get sold for 2022, that would be the price. But if only part of them get sold for 22, the price can go up or down the next
We would
year.
bring that
And
back to the
we go-
council
yeah.
for,
so they'll come back to us again and ask us for what the price of the lot is now this year, because we're gonna build this year. And then, like next year, they'll have to come back to us and see what the price is, if the price has gone up. And then,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
so again, we have the 2, so if you look at, yes, one was talking about 5, one's talking about 7.
Right.
But they both have kind of basically committed to 4 and 2, the one with 2 at the lower price. So you're looking at 6. So right now, we have enough lots for both of them, one to build the 4 and the other to build the 2. So we're
But
it's
they
not.
really only committed to building 1 or 2 in 2020.
No, one is
the one
committed
guy's
to
gonna
4.
build
One
4.
group's committed to building 4.
In 2020.
Right, and the other, if the price is less than the 14 that they originally proposed, is committed to building 2.
Was everybody okay with us paying them buying them for 10 grand? I am.
I am because,
So I mean, that's what we
that
gotta
is not a
decide.
long time to recoup those dollars, I don't think.
And it's gonna be, it's roughly, that it's hard to kind of say, but I think we can safely assume $1,600 of tax revenue. That's how you've come up with that payback, correct?
We know,
That is based on a house with a similar footprint that exists up in Valley View right now.
Sure.
or
That's
are
what
we,
property taxes are.
or are we supposed to counter that? Are we supposed to counter the 10 with a 11.5 and then, I mean, what are we supposed to do?
Well, you can
Or
do
do we
whatever
just
you
say, yeah,
want.
you can have it for 10? It's like buying a car? I
Well,
know, is that what we're supposed to do?
I think one of the biggest things that we have to also consider is, we don't want to lose this opportunity.
No, I know, but are we gonna lose it if we counter?
That's,
So 10,000 is the
I-
purchase for the lot, nothing else. They don't pay the assessments, or is that?
Right, it would be all in, yeah.
Because they would pay 18 if they were gonna pay what, right? That would be the price for all the assessments in the lot and, right, or,
That's our total investment.
right,
you know, yeah, that we have into those lots now is 18 and change, you know, a couple of them are 19.
But we already know that we aren't gonna get
Money
what
trying to get it.
we have into it. We're not gonna get what we have
How
into
many
it.
houses are up there now?
7,
How many paid the assessments that are up there now?
7.
So we sold 7 paying the assessments.
Yeah, but you're not gonna get the other ones
So
to
how would
pay.
you like to be one of the 7 to
Hey.
pay the assessments?
I bought a car 5 years ago for 25 and now that car is 45. It would suck to buy a car 5 years later for 45. But that's, you know, that's just the way it
Those lots
is.
have sat there forever too.
I don't think you
Nobody
can-
looking at 'em.
I don't think you can look at it that way, Doug.
Really?
No,
No.
I don't think you can. I don't think you
I
can,
guess I can, but because
because no houses will
somebody
get built.
makes up that difference, Ron. Somebody that don't even live close to that in this town makes up that difference.
Yeah,
So it's.
but there won't
and-
be,
and
any
7 people already paid the assessments up
there won't be
so
any
how would you
houses
like to
built
pay
up
them
there.
people?
There won't be any houses built up
Or
there.
do we have to pay them back now?
No,
No, they bought it knowing that's what the cost was.
yeah.
And-
I don't think you can do
We have
it.
it all figured how we're gonna
I think
recoup
we-
those dollars in the years. You know, look at all the dollars that we have granted with TIF dollars. No, if there's somebody that didn't get as much as the other one before, do we say, oh, well, we'll give you those dollars? You know, I just think
That's a little
this is the
different.
this is the price for us to be able to get people, and you've talked about building single-family houses for as long as I can remember, and this is an opportunity to build them. We build them, they'll come.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super excited about not getting all that money back,
Well,
but
I'm not
but we
super
aren't gonna
excited
get it
about
back.
Because I think it was just, what, a year or 2 ago? Wasn't Ziegler here wanting to lower the assessments and we told him no?
We
Couldn't legally,
Okay.
because it had literally been assessed. You know, so, you know, again, you know, there's a bit of a philosophical debate, you know, it's kind of the bird in the hand, you know, type of deal. You know, if we can get the development, the house is gonna be there for, you know, 75 years, you know, with the family in it and property tax revenue. You know, if we pass on it, maybe we get development. You know, I can't predict that, or at what level.
I guess I'd rather see 4 homes built this summer,
Potentially 6.
potentially 6 this summer. So we know when this summer's over, we've got 6 homes up there. I mean, that's pretty solid, that's a pretty solid deal. I mean, you know, because that's what we're looking for. I mean, every meeting I'm in, we're talking about, we need single-family homes. Every single committee meeting I'm in for the city.
So then I wanna know how solid the commitment is that these houses are gonna be built this summer. How solid is that?
It would have to be in the purchase agreement,
Yeah,
right?
it's in the purchase.
It would have to be in the purchase agreement. They can't buy
it
it
if they
if
don't, we're
What
not,
if they don't?
then
Then we end up again taking
we
it back.
got the lots back, so we're.
We're right back where we're at right
Yeah,
now.
back right where we are right
now.
We haven't lost any,
Supposed to not have a discussion, or are we?
No, we are having a discussion, we're having a good discussion.
I'm asking questions.
Yeah, but
But we
that's,
won't
it
be
was
back-
said it
we
was
won't
gonna
be
be in the
back
purchase
up.
agreement. I mean, I'm not,
I think, but, you know, both groups have verbally committed to, you know, what they proposed.
We got into this mess.
But our big, you know, like I say, our big thing right now is to set the price, so then we can go back and actually put the purchase agreements together, and then that would come back to the council.
so, to Doug's point, is there anything in this, what we're talking about, is there anything in this that could backfire and we could be in a situation where we regretted it? I don't, huh?
No, we couldn't possibly regret any of that. I mean, it's.
I'm asking Gerald a question about
If somebody got hard money stuck into this so that there is some consequences, that if they back out and don't do the deal, they lose some money.
Well, I mean, that's part
Because
of
that's what happened when we took with
15,
this developer.
yeah, 20 years ago. Now
Exactly.
now we're trying to get out of it. We're trying to work
Yeah.
an opportunity to get out of it. And that's again, what
Let's
the
not
purchase,
try to get
we
out of
can't,
it.
no one can give us hard money when we're sitting here having a conversation. That's what we're trying to do right now, so we can create the purchase agreement that then determines what that hard money is. We can't expect them to come in and lay a $25,000 check on the counter before we have this conversation.
So do we approve the purchase agreement before that?
We set
No,
the.
you gotta set the
sale
price
That's the
first.
sale price for 2022.
So I make,
We need to know what to put in the purchase agreement.
Yeah.
You know, what, you know, what.
I'm not
the-
sure how to, I'm not sure how to word the motion, but I'll make a motion that we sell the proposed lots for the $10,000 with the purchase agreement stating the homes that will be built in 2022 to be 4, possibly 6, I don't know, whatever that guy's offer was. I don't know, I don't know how to say
Well,
it.
I don't know if you would need to include the number of homes in the motion. We'll bring that in the purchase agreement, because they don't know what the sale price is.
Okay, so we're just basically
Maybe they'll
saying,
build
we're basically
5
saying
instead of
sale
4.
price. Single-family home lots for 10,000
For
for 2022.
For, yeah,
Yep, have to be
2022.
in 2022.
If-
Because the one that said 2 may decide they just wanna take 1.
Yeah.
For 2022, and then, you know.
If the price
roll
were to
the
go
dice
up-
for the next year. No. And the other, with 4 may decide they're gonna want 6, I don't know. But I think it's important for us to set the sale price and let them.
So our years to break even would actually be longer than the 5.5 and stuff, because that's, I mean, you can take the annual anticipated property tax, you know, and figure out the difference, but these homes that go in there are gonna have costs associated with them. Correct? They'll pay administrator fees and everybody's fees within the cities.
Here, just maybe hold off real quick. So you made a motion, correct? Are we good with that?
I'll second it.
We got a second? No discussion. Can you answer that question?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure
I'm not
out
sure
the math
I
here.
understood
So if we have an annual anticipated property tax of 1,600, and we're breaking even after 5.5 years, I realize that's the difference in the balance. But there's also it's not like it's all going into a fund. It's actually still, it costs the city to have these homes. That's why we all pay taxes, right? So it'll actually be a longer return on years to break even.
well, let me see if I can explain this a little bit better. The $1,600 annual anticipated property tax is basically the portion of their total property tax bill that comes to the city of Staples. You know, are there other things, you know, I mean, we plow the roads, we, you know, have streetlights, you know, all of that kind of stuff, which exists there already. But, you know, there's a lag on the property tax. You know, it's, when the home is fully completed, you know, that January value, that January is for taxes payable the following year. You know, but once the property taxes are being paid, you know, that's basically the difference between that, you know, total investment and the sale price, you know, to recoup that. You know, right now, with no home on there, we're basically levying, you know, doing a debt service levy, you know, that you see on the budget sheet every year. Now, at the bottom, debt service levy, you know, and that's being levied against all property in the city of Staples. So it basically offsets, you know, that.
Why don't you read that motion back again, whatever the motion was, so I can understand.
Sell single-family lots for 10,000 and and for 2022, and I wasn't sure if we wanted the purchase agreement stating that the homes will be built in 2022. I was unclear.
Well, it will. The purchase agreement. will.
So this will be for 4 lots, correct?
6.
Could be 8.
Could be eight.
It
No, I
could
mean, they're gonna buy 4 lots because they're gonna build 4 houses in
Yes.
2022.
there's
That's
one group,
That's one developer.
yep, one developer
But the other
proposes
one
4,
said
the
maybe
other will do 2.
Maybe somebody else will come in and
So there's nothing,
want to build a house.
so if they buy, so they're gonna buy 4 lots, right? $40,000 or whatever it has to be, or whatever we agree on.
Yep.
So they'll own the 4 lots, regardless if they build a house on it or not. That'll
Well,
be
they
their
have to
lot.
build
Oh, we'll
something
put a
they
clause
plan
in
to.
there. There'll be a reverter clause.
We've done that, the city council's done that in the past where up at Highview Estates.
Yeah.
I think even, yeah, where we bought the lots back because they weren't built on. So what are we out?
I don't think we wanna buy the lots back.
No.
Well,
I think
so,
they lose their money. If they don't
but if
build
there's
on
somebody
their
else
lot.
that wants to build on them, that's why we would buy them back to get somebody to build on them. That's the whole point. Is to buy them back for somebody to build on.
The whole point would be to sell the lots.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what the motion says, is to sell the lots.
Alright,
The language that we've had in our purchase agreements before, historically, whether it be Highview, or other stuff that we've done. I'll read the language in this purchase agreement that we just approved tonight. Buyer shall commence construction on the above referenced property prior to October 1, 2022. This provision shall survive closing. So, it must be substantially complete within 18 months of closing. If not substantially complete, we'll convey the property back to the sellers upon seller's request.
But once they've done that investment and have the house just about done, they're not gonna not finish it.
Right, and that's where, the whole substantially complete piece.
Yeah, we like that. Those
You
words
can't
so
just
big.
have footings in the ground for 5 years,
We love substantial.
Yeah, that's, has a whole new meaning.
I call the question.
Okay. With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Well, it'll be fun to see what happens up there.
Yeah, and it's a great thing to have happening, to have, people in the community that wanna, try and help meet the need for that single-family housing. Never known for the last couple of years.
Maybe once somebody sees things happening there, they're gonna want us to do more with the twin homes and make those into single family. So I think there'll be excitement around activity there. Because people have been driving by it for a long year.
Well, and I think, the other thing, and we've, at EDA, there's been a lot of talk, we've talked a lot about this, for many years, is just the, value of having a family living in the community, just kind of that residual value, hopefully they have, kids that are going to school, that they're paying property tax to the city, the school, the county, go to church, buy groceries, all of those things that you don't get if they don't live here. So, we will see how.
Well, and it values across the board too. 7 homes is gonna be roughly 1% of our levy. Correct?
Yeah.
About 1% of our levy. So that's, if we look at next, on that budget, that's 1% less that we, so.
And that won't be for 2 years.
It'll be a couple of years, but it just, it benefits a lot, to have those. All right, we'll move on to item number 9. That's committee reports. We have a Public Works Commission. Scott?
Okay,
Western Area Power Authority, the WAPA, we buy about a quarter of our power from them. They're out west in Colorado. Because of the drought, they have less water to produce electricity, so we are gonna see an increase from them. If you remember the beginning of the year, or the end of last year, Missouri River gave us a 5% decrease in rates since we buy 75% of our power from them. This will more than offset the increase that we're gonna get from WAPA. So the WAPA increase will not occur until 2023. Missouri River predicts their rates will be stable. So although we did see an increase in 25% of our power, the decrease in 75% offsets it. So we're fine. With that, the commission recommended that we do start moving towards or moving forward with a rate study. Historically, we've done them every 4 years. The last one was done in 2019. I did reach out to Missouri River, who will be doing the study for us, and normally, we tried to get it in early enough so that it would be ready for 2023. However, they're very busy with rate studies. They probably will not have it done by the beginning of 23. They'll probably have it done in 23. So, however, I don't see that there would be any real concern with not getting it done by then. With the stable rates, and even though the materials and things like that are increasing, we've received some rebates and then the rate decrease. So I don't see any real concerns with the electric rates, but we still will get that study done in 2023. Steve Goggert, he's been a water wastewater operator with us for 15 years. He announced his retirement effective April 30th. So we wish him well. And we are doing interviews tomorrow to find his replacement. His replacement will, Steve had been strictly in the water and wastewater plants, but with the new plant, the new wastewater plant, they won't have nearly as much or a need for time. So this new person, they'll still be being a plant operator, but they'll also spend a lot of time out. We'll teach them to do some utility locating, and they'll help reading meters and installing meters and things like that. So it'll be a little bit different position, but they will still report as a water or wastewater operator. We'll be going ahead with a public hearing next month. I don't know if some of you probably remember seeing an email regarding it. It's at the council meeting a month from now. I also send out notices to other township and county officials, et cetera. We're still having some issues with colored water on Dakota Avenue on the south side. It's hit and miss. We've reached out to several different people down there. Some have had it, some haven't. We're increasing the sampling that we're doing down there. All of our samples show that that everything is well within limits, health-wise and convenience-wise. You want to keep certain things might not cause a health problem, but cause a nuisance, and all of those are within limits. However, if you're seeing colored water, it doesn't really, you probably don't think it's within limits. So we're trying to do more sampling, and then we'll do our regular flushing this spring, and we'll keep checking in. Hopefully I think that we will eventually flush it out, but I think with the looping on Minnesota Avenue that we just changed the flow of water, and we have cast iron pipes there that it's just the water, the flow changed, so it's moving some iron, knocking it off the pipe. And so although we are having issues, we're working on it. I hope that we'll get it cleared up. Then we just talked about substantial completion. We still do not have a settlement on substantial completion of the wastewater treatment plant. They sent in their pay request that included all of the engineering and labor fees from our staff. We sent it back without, we crossed off those amounts and sent it back. Gerald wrote them a letter stating our position. We did not hear a word back from them regarding that, and so it doesn't really hurt us. We're not paying them, you know, the fees that they're requesting. However, we just don't have a written settlement on what the date is. The plant is operating. They're continuing to do everything they need to do to finish it. So we just have a small difference in, if I remember right, it was about $24,000. Yeah, so that's an amount that remains in dispute. I'm sure it'll get cleared up before it's done, but it's not done yet.
But the old plant is gone.
The old plant, yes, and I mean, that was, we've had this dispute, the old plant was up, they came and knocked it down, so they're not holding anything against us, we just disagree over that little amount of money. In a $16 million plant, $24,000 isn't too much, so. But anyway, the Missouri River Annual Meeting be held on May 11th and 12th. If anybody wants to go, it's in Sioux Falls. You can give me a call, I can reserve you a room and get you registered. And then the last thing that I want to mention is that the City of Staples was recognized by the American Public Power Association. It's a group that we belong to, most municipals do. We were recognized for being in the top 25% nationwide for the lowest average interruption. So, and what that's based on is like the average amount of time, you take, if you had 6 customers that were out for, or you had 100 customers that were out for an hour, so you'd have 6,000 customer minutes or outage minutes. We have 1,200 total customers, you know, you divide that, and that's how you come up with your number. So our average, so what that means is basically every single person, every customer, when you take all the outages and all the customers that had outages, there would have been a total of, or an average of 2.4 minutes that somebody lives in Staples was out. The average for Minnesota is 84.7 minutes. So that's pretty impressive. There's a few reasons for this, and one is being that, well, for one, we're a municipal, so our customers are close together. Another one is that we continue to, we have local ownership, so we care about our system, and we continue to put money back into it to make sure that it's reliable. And most importantly is our linemen. They are quick to respond, they know what they're doing, so when an outage happens, they know how to react to it, and they can get the power back on quick. So I think we should all be proud of this. Anybody that has anything to do with it, with council or those of us that are in the office, but especially our linemen. And that's all I got, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, sir. How about the Economic Development Authority? Got something, Melissa?
So the minutes are short, but the meeting was long. We had a lot of great discussion. We had some great updates. So we approved and canceled some lease agreements. Unit A had 225 square feet being utilized by Acura Tooling. They moved their equipment. We canceled the lease in Unit A with them, and then we started a lease with them for Unit C. That's for about half of that unit, starting in May, as they'd already paid for the 225 square feet by this time. And then they will be eventually, once we clear out some of the extra stuff that is in there, they don't need all the space as of yet anyways, expanding that entire Unit C for Acura. They are looking at some expansion, bringing in some additional equipment, so they need some additional space. So that is nice. Unit A, they had to move out of Unit A as Voyager Industries has moved into Unit A. They have outgrown their 38,000 square foot building that they moved into January, and are now leasing the 5,300 square feet at the industrial building from the city. And so that was why all that transition happened, but it kind of worked out great for everybody involved. They are actually already operating out of there. I think they moved everything in last Saturday, and they are doing production this week there. Other than that, we talked about the potential economic development website through Golden Shovel. At this time, the board decided not to move forward with that, and so we will continue to research ways to market the economic development activities and availability in the community in different ways. And we did, I'm not going to dive into it too deep here, as we just spent a lot of time talking about it. We had a lot of conversation around Valley View, the potential development offers for single family, and then a potential twin home offer that is still out there but isn't quite ready to come to the council as of today. So that was our meeting. We adjourned at 6:42. If anybody has any questions.
Any progress on the bachelor's building?
We are waiting to hear from the state. We have, at this point, as far as I know, made it to the governor's list for his bonding recommendation. Senate, I want to say, is just starting to meet the committee, or maybe it's House. No, I think Senate. House has been meeting, but ours, I haven't seen it on the agenda as of yet. I don't anticipate being asked to go down to the Capitol or do a presentation as the dollar amount in the big picture. The $890,000 is significantly less than what most of theirs are, and all three of those groups actually are pretty familiar with the project in general from a couple years ago. And so I'm still waiting to hear. I have been in communication with their staff as opposed to the actual Senate and House committees.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. And it'll take us to open forum. Anybody has anything? Okay, city administrators report.
Just a few items, a couple of follow-up things from our last meeting. We did get the title opinion stuff on that Ziegler House down on 2nd Street Southwest, and we're good to go on that. So we actually do own it now. It is on the list along with Falk and the Croswell House for demo. I don't know, did Phil, too busy? Phil Berger, PHP, is going to give us the low number to demolish all three of those. We just don't know the exact timing. So, but it would be nice to get rid of those three properties. Jared and I went down to Alexandria for the annual League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust Loss Control workshops. Very exciting. Listen to insurance talk all the time. Continue to work with the chamber on trying to work out details for railroad days and the plans that they're making. And also, speaking of things I continue to work on, is the Charter Spectrum franchise agreement. Boy, I tell you, I'm talking about slow moving. And just a reminder, citywide cleanup May 20th, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock on the street shop. So information on that will be all the people that we're working on here at the end of the month as far as pricing and instructions. So start filling your trailers.
Will the cleanups be, those letters to the people, they'll get those in time so that they.
The rumor mill, or are you talking nuisance instructions?
The nuisance ones,
Oh, yeah.
those will be out plenty of time so they can
Yep.
take advantage of that.
As soon as the snow is gone, so we can see. That's all I have.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. Motion by Ron, second by Roy to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned.
Jeez. Pause now, he's gonna cue me.
Hey, Ron, gotta show you something.